Back the Moonraker.
Welcome to the show, Paradigm Review Show. Ross Bond, Mac the Moonraker, Bob Bond from PXM. And we had him last time, and it wasn't even a 007 Bond episode, so that was pretty epic. Today we're here with no, possibly yes, Time to Die, and is 2021. Last October, got pushed back many times from COVID. This was the final Daniel Craig installment. Me, myself, I like Daniel Craig. I'm a James Bond fanboy, full disclosure. In this episode, James Bond has left active service. His peace is short-lived when Felix Leiter, an old friend from the CIA, turns up asking for help, leading Bond onto the trail of a mysterious villain armed with a dangerous new weapon. And as you may have noticed, that pretty much sounds exactly like many of the other Bond plots that we've watched before. Like my whole problem with this is like Craig came in so hot with the Casino Royale remake, and I like all of the other Craigs like more than this one. You know what I mean? And I thought when they said that he was retiring from service and all this and that, that I expected a little bit more, I guess. Me and Mac have had some behind-the-scenes conversations about this, as well as Gaz. So I don't know. Right off the bat, you guys could just jump into where you're at on the Craig franchise, and then we'll start off this film and get into it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I agree with that. Casino Royale was like when they reignited the Bond franchise into something a lot more fresh and a lot more high. Obviously, it took away from the old formula where Bond uses gadgets and such. I mean, this one relies more on brute strength and quick-witted spy tactics and such. And,
fighting ability and
his fighting ability. They were more relying on that, which ain't a problem. Because most of them have been shoot 'em ups, but this one's like a mix with the shoot 'em up and just punching, kung fu, chop, kick, all that, and
judo chop,
yeah, and like Casino Royale was just hot. Then it came down to Quantum of Solace, to Fire, to Skyfall, to so, and then now you're down to No Time to Die, where it seems like the formula is being used again, but it's like fizzling a bit now.
Yeah, I agree.
When it fizzles, that's when things, you could tell, when you watch it, like you could tell the writing and, how they went about the whole story.
Yeah.
It's almost like they ran out of like direction or ran out of, ideas on how to even come about it in the end of the day. So I'm not totally knocking it. It was entertaining in most parts, but then there were those parts where they were just, move it along. Come on, really?
Yeah. They tried to do this. This is my opinion, and you can weigh in, Gaz, on where you feel. Because being a British lad, you're practically best friends with the Queen over there, so you know all about politics.
Spoiler, folks. He's done that to try and get a reaction because he knows that'll make my blood boil with being an
This guy's gonna kill me before this stream is over. I guarantee it. So this is interesting. Spectre, I think, has a lower review on IMDb than No Time to Die does. I like Spectre better. Than this movie. I mean, Spectre had Dave Bautista. Spectre was awesome. The fights in Spectre were crazy. The plot was better in Spectre. So that the
villain was better as well.
There you go. The way that you guys rate these movies on IMDb, I don't understand, because you literally watch Spectre and then you watch this and you were like, yeah, Spectre was okay, but No Time to Die? Have you seen that one? Like, what? First of all, you guys are crazy with it. I don't know.
Yeah, they get you lost, man. Don't follow what the fanboys say, man.
What do you think, guys?
Well, the crazy thing is with this movie, I could actually structure the whole review around like 5 different categories, because it's good in a lot of areas, as we'll get into, cinematography, the way it was shot, action scenes, so on and so on. Can't fault that. So it's a strange one because I didn't hate it. Contrary to popular belief, not everyone in the UK are actually Bond fanboys. I don't really care for them that much. It's pretty much, they're okay.
It seems like they market it to the American audience, quite frankly, because like you usually have an American director and blah blah blah. So
well, yeah, I mean it's weird. There's a lot of people that do like them. So I wonder, it is massive here as well. But then there's loads of us who are like, meh, probably I guess because it's we grow it's like, meh, another movie, the most overqualified guy in the world who can do absolutely anything and everything. And I'm like, I'm like, I don't want to see a movie of this. But Mac's right. When Craig came into the franchise, it became more like, might kill me for saying this, but more like, I guess, James Bond than Bond, with him using fighting skills, etc., not the reliance on gadgets. Right. The Casino Royale, the remake was dope. Spectre was dope. I mean, it didn't even look like Craig was going to appear in this one. No Time to Die at one point. I'm not going to get into the whole feminazi thing and all that with it, because that was just stupidly dumb. But Mac is very on point. The movie, in parts, looked like it's lost the sparkle. Yeah, it's lost. Honestly,
that. He kind of looked like he didn't want to be there at times.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like
he didn't. The thing is that he did. I think he wants to get into playing some of the roles again. Yeah. He did Knives Out, which actually, considering Rian Johnson, well, we all know what he did with Star Wars, but Knives Out actually isn't that bad. Yeah, and we know Craig's, I think he's just filmed the sequel or is in the process of doing it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're right. I thought that this guy wants to give up his license to be James Bond. Yeah. And as we get towards the end of this review, I've got the perfect candidate for James Bond, who I will mention. I don't think he will find better, but that's for later.
I'll get in on that debate.
But yeah, I mean, it had a good intro. The way it was shot, the opening.
Yeah, I like that. So
that
what
was
I was
good.
going to say is I felt for the first time they were trying to do like characterization for James Bond, because they've 40 movies they've made, they've really never done that. He always just gets assignments from the agency, gets sent out on missions, so you never really get to meet him as a person.
Only once. A very old James Bond movie which featured George Lazenby, who I think was the first guy to play James Bond. I think he was Canadian, and that's the one where his wife dies. And you see that human side to James Bond. I mean, it's a 60s movie.
I like Lazenby. I thought it was, but yeah, Connery first, and then
Lazenby. I think it was George Lazenby on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was Sean Connery. Dr. No was the first one.
Yeah, me too.
No, on Her Majesty's Secret Service, George Lazenby was the first one, and then
I thought he was good. I thought at the time, I thought he was the second best Bond. I liked him better than Moore, and quite frankly, I like Dalton better than Moore as well. I think
Dalton wasn't bad. Moore was like Moore was more for the comedic side, for delivering all the one-liners, and then I think as that progressed, it became
tired,
too cheesy. That was the whole problem. So getting back to what you were saying about the characterization of James Bond, we only previously saw that on Her Majesty's Secret Service, where he sadly killed his wife.
Yeah,
in every other movie, you're right. It's kind of the same thing. I'm going to run along, kill bad guys, get to the next level. You know, fight Big Dave as the boss, save the world.
Big boss.
So yeah, opening was good. So what are the positive parts which we can get into did stood out to you, man, with this? We mentioned the characterization.
Real quick on Moore, he wanted to come back as a villain. I think that would have been awesome. I think he would have been a better villain than like an older villain than he was a Bond, quite frankly. He'd be the first guy to play Bond and play the Bond villain. That'd be sick, right? I thought that'd be sick.
The thing that's interesting with that, Ross, is he was quite a serious actor before he became James Bond, and I think that turned him into kind of like this comedic typecasted role.
Right.
So I think he's wanting to come back as a villain there, probably a bit more of a serious, darker edge. Exactly. I mean, he was good in an old Van Damme movie, which was kind of like an unofficial sequel to Bloodsport.
Oh, you're talking about The Quest.
The Quest, yeah. He was good in that.
Okay, so let's start right from the beginning. So the movie starts, and it starts with a Billie Eilish song. who I think is one of the worst artists of all time. I think she's terrible with zero talent. Now, this is probably her
Wu-Tang
best
Baby.
song ever. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, Wu-Tang. This is probably her best song ever. Don't get me wrong, but it's still not good, right? It's average. So you start, it's not like Adele when she did the Skyfall. Like, I'm not even a big Adele fan, but I thought like the Skyfall anthem was epic. You know what I mean? So right off the bat, you get this average song, and you're like, wait a minute, dude. Bond songs are never average. It's usually like the best artist at the time, and it sets the, God, the Deadpool song, the Deadpool 2 song was better than this, and that was Celine Dion. You know what I mean? So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? They couldn't get Celine for freaking No Time to Die. So
they had Tina Turner for freaking GoldenEye, bro.
Yeah,
so
dude. Tina Turner was all over the Thunderdome soundtrack. What are we talking about here? So we start off, and then there's this thing that me and Mac like to get to, and I'm going to do a semi-spoiler here. Sorry, guys. You see Christopher Waltz's name in the intro credits, and they really tried to throw him in there like, well, Christopher Waltz is in our movie, so that means it's a good movie, right? He's a good actor. Everybody likes him, and you're like, okay, yeah, he's one of the best out right now, but then they don't really tell you that he's only in one scene. So, like, I feel like they really tried to throw his name up there. Like, if you're a Christopher Waltz fan, you're going to be all about this movie. And then as the movie proceeds, you're kind of like, I don't know about that. My guess is they had to pay him like his regular rate, and they were just like, dude, we can't even get him for more than one scene, bro. But who knows? Anyway,
you never know. That's probably another way to try to get the fans to even watch this Bond film.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. So let's get into the film. So I like that intro scene, Gaz. Italy. I thought it started out pretty hot. He's out there on vacation with his girl, and stuff pops off. That faction, is after him. He does a decent stunt. It's a decent. He does a decent rope swing stunt under the bridge. Spoiler alert. Oops. And so there's it starts out with a pretty decent fight and some pretty good car chase. Some pretty good action sequence there. I like the action there. This is what I told Gaz and Mac when I told them that the action is there in this movie. The action actually is there. The action's there. The problem is the plot gets stretched out so far, and there's so many weird scenes that it just kind of breaks up the plot. Just to quickly interject, I've just had the correct information given from an unknown source. Dr. No was the first James Bond movie, and it was Sean Connery first. And George Lazenby came in halfway through, then didn't want to play James Bond anymore. But it was right. George Lazenby was the first Bond to show that human side of him where they killed his wife. So just quick interjection. Point there. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I might actually go back and watch that because I remember when I watched him. I like Lazenby a lot. It's a little weird that he's Canadian, but whatever.
Yeah.
I guess that's almost under the Queen's.
Well, Basil Rathbone was South African who played Sherlock Holmes, so it's interesting, man. Yeah, straight up.
Let's not control here, guys. Let's remain grounded. You were saying that?
But yeah, anyway, back that action sequence though was pretty dope though.
Yeah, I mean, so that started out well. Eventually we get bounced back to his little retreat in Jamaica where he's like hiding out or whatever. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I like Felix, you know what I mean? Like Max said,
yeah, he's dope.
Felix is dope, you know what I mean? I gotta say, with that situation that broke down there between him and Felix and the other guy, I mean, it was kind of predictable because you could see that guy was going, "Don't say that! Hey, he's not allowed to say that!" Like, dude, if you're James,
like he was so by the book. But the thing is, like, what threw me off about that was like, he could have been that way, like villainous, but he also could have been like
for his job. That's how they.
Like some pencil neck.
But hold on. If you're James Bond though, and your job is to psychoanalyze people to see if they're lying to you or not, you're telling me he wouldn't have noticed that? Like, yo, why are you acting like that, bro? Like, I would have socked that guy dead in his face. Like,
that's what I thought. Come on, I thought this guy's a secret agent. The amount of people that he obviously comes across, the ability to read, and that never struck him as strange. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Whatever, but Felix is cool. I like Felix. Let's go to Cuba. I do like the Cuba sequence. So we're going to give you everything we like first, and then you know how we do it here, guys. We're going to go straight to what we don't like. The Cuba the Cuba sequence, I thought that was pretty cool, where they were going through the upper levels of the bars and whatever, and the big shootout and stuff. That was pretty sick. I thought that was well done. And then there's the what happens to the Spectre people there at the Spectre party.
Yeah, that was interesting.
That was pretty grimy. I mean, in the way they get away and shit. He grabs Felix a couple Cubans. You know what I mean? I was with it. So I like those parts. And granted, those are both pretty. At least that first fight scene was like extremely short, and that Cuba one's not that long either. He meets up with the Cuban agent. I thought she was pretty good. I mean, eye candy, but she did fairly good in the fight. And then of course there's the real 007 now, because James
real 007. I just say that.
I love how she's like trying to like follow him around through that fight, and she's just like messing up and failing while he's just like flawlessly getting away. And she's like, she like, anyway.
How come I'm not as qualified as you? You can do everything. Yeah,
like, 007 for like a couple of weeks, and we're supposed to believe that like she's as good as him. It's like, sorry, no, he's been 007 for like 20 years. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So yeah, I like those couple scenes, and then again, there's a lot of weird stuff of the dynamic between him and his girl and whatever, and she has this relation back to the Bond villain. One scene I'll say that's kind of weird was his girl's origin, of how he came up to the was that Norway, or what country was that, guys? I don't even know what country that was.
Were they in the Swiss Alps by any chance?
Maybe it was that. Maybe it's that, because she's French, right?
They were speaking French. I thought they were.
But they speak South Swiss.
Yeah, in Swiss, German, French, Italian, English, maybe even Spanish in some parts, I think.
Yeah, because the Alps is right on that border.
Mm.
I guess that was the villain's like origin, or at least his introduction in this film, the whole on the ice lake, and it was like, that was just a weird scene. Like, I honestly did not understand that scene, because they're trying to make him like ominous and sinister, and he just came off awkwardly weird to me. I wasn't really that scared of him, but I understood it. You know what I mean? He came back to blah blah blah, her family, blah 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 blah. So whatever. So we'll go to So later on, he's once again hunted by the forces of evil. He essentially, I mean, I don't even feel bad about this spoiler, because come on, guys, it's a James Bond movie. Like you said, like you obviously see he's in retirement, but if he gets looped into an international conspiracy, what do you think? He's just going to take on Spectre by himself as a lone ranger? Like, this isn't Bloodshot, you know what I mean? So obviously he begins working back with MI6 again, because that's the only likely path for the plot of this movie. You should be able to figure that out from the trailer. We're gonna post the trailer. If you can't figure out that, you thought he was just gonna go around taking down terrorist cells by himself with no help, I don't know what to tell you. But so as the villain, like I said, has that predisposed relationship to the I guess his wife, or I don't even know what she is, his girlfriend, whatever. So they eventually like come after them. I'm just gonna highlight this scene, because I thought this was maybe this and the last fight are probably the best two scenes, best two fights in the movie. When they escape the Swiss freaking cabin, and they chase them through the forest and in the river, when they're driving the trucks to the river with the helicopters. How he did those motorcycle dudes, I ain't even gonna say it, but I thought that was one of my favorite fights. Like, that was grimy. He was just icing those dudes in the woods, and I mean that shouldn't come across as a big spoiler to the audience, because you should assume that James Bond's gonna kill some people in these movies.
I mean, my thing is like the only what I found interesting about that whole fight sequence was it was in a forest full of fog. Basically, it's hard to see what's going on. You got all these like Jeeps and freaking cats on dirt bikes and all that, and just trying to freaking find James. But James is outsmarting them all, knowing where they're gonna come from, and
the whole
just
crew
setting up traps like freaking Rambo and just taking.
I thought it was sick, bro. Did you like that scene at least, guys?
Yeah, I did. But just to put in a little bit of misery before I say something positive, going back to one of the opening action scenes in Italy, that guy who, when they were driving the 4x4s towards him on the bridge.
Yeah.
In reality, he wouldn't have survived because the guy wouldn't have missed it that range. So really, there wouldn't have been the rest of the movie. It would have been done in 15 minutes.
Oh, don't worry. I'm going to be getting into reality and realism in the last scene, because that's the more scene that I have a problem with realism.
Mine too, man. But I'll behave myself now. But on the flip side, yes, I did like that because, like with many other movies we've seen, both major and indie, when that is done right, that shows somebody who is trained to that level has that natural awareness, muscle memory, positioning, anticipation, where you're going to take someone out. So I thought that was awesome. Like I say, folks, like you said, Ross, when James isn't busy saving the world and he's at the country golf club with me and you, because we're big high rollers and we're playing chess with him and all that stuff. And he's telling us, folks, and he's telling us that I've gone and forgot where I'm going with this as the words are coming out of my mouth. So let's move on to the next part, because Bob Bond's mind has just been possessed by Spectre for all of a sudden.
Top notch work from
There's a botch live
over here.
There was a point. It'll come back.
So basically what we're talking about is an exceptionally shot chase scene through the rivers and just the
that's it.
Escapes. Go ahead, you got it back.
That's it. I was just going to say, as you were saying, this is what I was saying, where you could put the review of this movie into actual several different categories. The action, folks, and the fight sequences, 10 out of 10. It's really awesome. They've really, really delivered. And if it wasn't for those moments, I think you would notice what we don't like with the movie even more. So it's really weird, because you sat there and you're like, I don't hate this movie. There's a lot of good points to it, but there's a lot I don't like as well. And it's quite weird because like I said, the action is done so well,
for sure,
and it's rather strange.
For sure.
And there's other things.
Go on,
man. No, go on, man. Sorry.
It's not that strange because, as I said before, it's the pacing. You can't give us a 10 out of 10 action scene and then another 35-minute scene of them talking in the briefing room. It's just like, okay, we've seen James Bond get briefed 45 times now in every movie, so it doesn't need to last 20 minutes, especially when he's not even a roster agent anymore. He just, if I was like, okay, I'm coming in because I need to use the resources and the gadgets to get the briefing, but I'm still on my own and I got to go do it by myself anyway. I'm like, okay, give me the short version, give me the dossier, I'll read it on the flight over, you know what I mean? Especially when it's not like be there for he's not planning to have a career at MI6 anymore.
Exactly. That's a good point, man.
But that scene, freaking hell, is crazy, and he totally dusts those guys that come after him. He does something super creative, like Max said with the booby traps, and I thought the way he used it was like Gaz said with his reaction time, and like Max said with the fog. With that thick fog, you can't see a guy till they're 5 or 10 feet in front of you, so you have to react super quick. They pop up on you,
You see, that's what I like. That's what I thought that was really rad, the way they showed that, because I know a lot of people slate this, but the 2006, I think it was 2006, the first new Rambo movie, I guess, before Last Blood.
Yeah, Rambo 4.
And the Rambo 4, the sequence at the end, that shows that as well, his positioning, like his natural awareness, muscle memory. I thought that was dope. So for me, this probably was, probably one of the best action sequences in the whole movie. I mean, there's others, don't get me wrong, but I thought, this was really, really well done.
Yeah, I agree. If you guys don't have anything else on that, did you have anything else on that fight back, or do you want to, did you want? Just in the woods.
Basically, I just want to talk about the next action sequence. That was actually dope.
We're going to get to it. So, like we said, guys, stuff that's good, cinematography, action. I mean, Craig's acting, I wouldn't say he was his most enthusiastic, but I still have him as a top tier actor. And I mean, granted,
definitely.
Their 6th sequel, you're probably not going to put the same energy into it as you put in the first couple. Things that were not great, some of the other actors that are not Craig, the pacing, the plot it's not the most original Bond. I'm going to tell you guys right, it's not the most original Bond at all. It's basically just an average Bond plot, other than him retiring at the beginning of the movie, which he reinstates himself within 20 minutes of the beginning. It's not really much there for his retirement. They basically pop up on him like, James, we're screwed again, and we have no plan. So can we get you back in the service, bud? And that's pretty much where they went with it. Let's get on to so if you've seen every other James Bond, you can probably assume at some point he's going to storm an enemy fortress at the end of the movie. That's how every single James Bond movie ends. Like, literally, Austin Powers did that. So that should show you that literally every James Bond movie does that. Real quick, before we get into that, let me just get you guys' thoughts on the villain. He was somewhat of an average Bond villain, but I do like the actor. I think Rami Malek, he's the dude from Mr. Robot. I think he's a pretty good actor. I just don't think his full talent came across in this role.
No, it didn't. It didn't, because if you've seen the Queen movie where he plays Freddie Mercury,
I heard that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. He is dope in that movie, and he really shows his ability. With this one, he just felt like an average villain, standard performance, didn't show his ability, and that was disappointing because I feel he really could have given a sinister performance, really come across as a intimidating, menacing, calculating, cold villain, and he didn't quite do that for me.
I agree 100%. And Mac, you've seen it before in The Little Things.
Yeah, he just comes across as to me, his role in this one, I'm not saying he's a bad actor at all. He's a very good actor.
I agree 100%.
He just really came across cliche, like
little too generic, right?
Like a normal talking, normal psychotic who, whose family got eradicated by MI6, and now not MI6, Spectre, and he just pretty much wants total revenge, and I don't know. It's just like you got to understand this also, and I could pretty much. I'm trying to stand in his shoes in this one, and say if I'm given a role like that, how would I come across it? With my family being murdered by a terrorist organization, and how would I be the villain's villain? On top of that, being the Bond.
Right.
And to me, I just think like. If he was gonna come with this, I think he should have came. It just seemed like he borrowed formula instead of just coming with his own formula.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, totally.
And if he would have came with that, little niche in there, and somehow made, he would have gave a real, incredible performance. I mean, I wasn't expecting Oscar winning, but like something,
I know what you mean.
But
more presence.
Competition, like me and Max said before, like Javier Bardem was like incredible. Like almost every Bond villain is usually like awesome. It's usually like the best villain of the time when the movie comes out, you know what I mean? So it's such a high standard, and he was just a little bit too generic, like Mac was saying. Very good actor, but it didn't necessarily come across in this role. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just didn't quite do it, did it?
Yeah, the character was decent too, and as Max said before, like he almost got outshined by Christopher Waltz in one scene. Like, it's like, how are you going to put the Spectre leader there, and that guy's more of a menace than you, and you're the main villain of the film. Whatever. Yeah. Let's get to this. Let's get to this final fight. So James pins down the location. Well, rather MI6 via MI6 pins down the location. He's Liu Cipher Savin. I'm not quite sure how they pronounce that in the film, but that's what it says his name was on IMDb, was the villain. There's also the Russian guy who flipped, the scientist, spoiler alert.
He
was an MI6 project guy, and then
in that lab.
He flipped to the bad guy.
Spoiler, folks.
Obviously, I gotta say, I do like how he got iced, but other than that guy didn't really bring too much to the role, but it was funny when he got smoked. So we'll just say that two people near and dear to James are essentially being held at this compound, and we got to get into it. We got to address the elephant in the room. So there's this one scene where James is trying to do something very important to him, both personally and professionally, and he basically, spoiler alert, he takes out a hidden mini pistol and he freaking pops every guard in the room in a matter of seconds, showing that like he's still on point. He basically does a John Wick, right? He just lights him up, and then he has to essentially storm this compound where the only people helping him are what? It's just him and the other 007, right? And it's just them two, or maybe
it is because
they flew out there in the little jet. Spoiler.
If I say, then I'm going to get into spoilers. So I'll just say
you're worried. Anyway, so they basically have to take on this compound of people. At some point, we'll just say that the compound is compromised and they hit the evacuation order. So, but there's still a bunch of soldiers left. And that's when Bond goes absolutely ham. The staircase fight Mac was talking about. Slight spoiler. We're not going to tell you exactly what happens, but he pops off. He becomes James Bond in that scene. We'll just say everything that you know from the movies, from the Daniel Craig franchise. He really goes off and handles business. I love how he gets the guy with the thing where he that was a gadget. We're not going to tell you guys what happens, but it's a bonkers mean kill. It's fire. He even has a little one-liner to top it off for a cherry on top, and it was sick. I like that part a lot. So just whatever you guys think of this final fight scene. And
what I loved about it was like it was reminiscent to more of the grittier action films that are coming up now, and and this is why y'all gotta watch movies with Scott Adkins and
definitely.
And
I think we're gonna
they're stepping right into those like sort of genres, but this one, it's bringing more of that into the Hollywood, which I like. And the sequence, like I said, like you mentioned, VX, where he's like climbing up the stairs with nothing but a pistol and just pretty much disarming, terrorists left to right. You know what I mean?
I think he goes
chopping them, throwing them off. Like just throwing them off.
Mean.
It was all freaking like Raid Redemption-esque.
Yep.
They did all that.
I love that Raid style action.
And it was amazing. And I think that's what amazed me about the whole action sequence right there. Until it got up to the very obviously till it got up to the very end and all, but I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, definitely. Yes,
but that's what you think.
Yeah, I think this is probably the next best action scene, or on par with the one we were just on about, set in the fog.
I agree.
Definitely very Raid-esque. I own both Raid movies on DVD. Please Say No to the Michael Bay remake, which Ross told me about earlier, and I was in shock when I heard about that. But anyway, this is superb, and as Mac, you just said, man, about people need to check out these movies with Dahl, Scott Adkins, even some of the Michael J. White movies as well.
Have to mention them.
Yeah, and it's action kind of went underground into the indie scenes which we've been watching for years, and now we're seeing a bit of this in Hollywood. So we've seen it with John Wick as well, and let's hope we get more of these movies for us as well, to give people that choice and that balance. So that's the positive I think will come from this movie too. The scene, the kill with the eye gadget, that was awesome, and the one-liner as well.
The whole sequence from like basically when the movie popped off, when he got into that fortress to just when he get all the way to the top and out.
It was like that said to him, right, to Craig, right, make this your absolute most rad swan song for someone to follow, like I say, top that. And that's why it's just disappointing for me, because the action and the cinematography as well, the way it was shot, which we'll get into, I can't fault it.
Editing, sound mixing, a lot of good things. It's not the plot, the story, or
and it just feels like they've got that part of the movie right, and then the other part, it could have done with being delayed, released later until it got that right, and then it might have put the icing on top of the cake for us.
Yeah.
But it feels kind of like two movies squashed into one in a way, two different kinds of movies.
Yeah, I agree.
Strange, but yeah, folks. Even if you're not a massive James Bond fan, I aren't. The action scenes are awesome. The problem is, we're getting to, is the pacing. There's a lot of at times slow drags between each scene where you think, no man, yeah, come on, get on the train, get on with it, man. I want to get to this next scene.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's just let's wrap it up and go straight to the ending. So
your favorite part.
This is EX's most favorite part right here. Come on, Ross Bond. Don't BS us.
Come on, man. License to roast.
Don't do me like that. So as usual, he comes up with a thing that he needs to do, and he gets up to the top. And I'm just saying, after that fight of everything that we just said, the whole staircase fight, the thing before that, when he did the quick draw, he does all these things that demonstrate he's still Bond. And then now, granted, we'll just say that he comes under a timer, which is fairly obvious because I think this basically happens in every Bond too. So yeah, he has to beat the clock, and he will just say something happens to him up there, and this is the moment for me. Like, this sequence to the very end is what I was talking to Mac about. Like, two things happen to him up there, and I'm just thinking, like, it's James Bond. He's in an enemy fortress. Like, this is where the realism just started. Now I get it from the title and blah blah blah, and you already heard it with the last Daniel Craig movie before you came into this. Blah 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 blah. That being said, though, I really don't picture what happened to him happening to him, and not the way it happened to him up there. Like, that just drove me nuts. Like, right when it happened, I was like, okay. I was like thinking to myself, like, he's gonna get out of this, right? He's James Bond, like, and just the way it plays out from, then he has to go back again and beat the timer again, and essentially the ending gets. I don't like the ending. I'm gonna keep it real. We're not gonna tell you guys what it is, but the ending was probably my least favorite scene.
Same. When we were talking about this a lot for the last 2 weeks, and when you both said to me, "Oh, the ending, guys, the ending." Yeah. And when I got there, folks, the final act, and when you see what happens, and which we'll get into in the Raw, so we won't go in full spoilers, but we'll kind of give some explanations. I'm like, no, man, absolutely no way. The only thing I can think of, and this is my theory, maybe he was transfixed on the spot. He was paralyzed because maybe there was a villain with his dying breath on the floor who had an MP3 player hooked up to an external speaker, and he was blasting out Billie Eilish in it, and Bond was like, Jesus Christ, I can't move. Something I can think of.
Best moment in this entire series. Check out Hip Hop Heads podcast. That was the best thing that has ever said. No. Trust me, man. If he had put in the ear pods with the Billie Eilish song, he would have got shot in the first 5 minutes, like you were saying before, at that car chase, and he would have just fell off the bridge.
EDM remix.
Craig would never listen to that crap.
Yeah, I think Gaz is right. Would have made a great JBL commercial right there.
So I don't know, Mac. Did you have anything on this? I mean, you didn't think it was realistic either, right? The way it went down up there. I mean, I thought you were.
Look, my thing is this. All right, Gaz said it best about the Bond logic being the man that can't be stopped.
Yeah.
And yeah, you go into watching Bond movies thinking that, So when the ending happened as it did, obviously it throws you completely a left curveball, and you just got hit in the head wondering, really. That's it.
Yeah, I thought it might happen one day, because how much damage can you take as a human? You know what I mean? Like, even if you're a John Wick, or your whole franchise is you God moding through every movie, but still, like, So then, okay, and this is the other thing too. Like, MI6, as we were discussing, MI6 couldn't come up with a solution for that. Like, Q literally does, like, his job is experimental invention science. So, just that whole sequence from the end, like, I get it. Like, obviously, Bond does what he needs to do. We'll leave it at that. But just from there on the way out, and like, and even that final scene. Let's go to the final scene right before roll credits, as like, you know, his final send off, like
with the Louis Armstrong song on. Yeah,
that he wouldn't have just stood there and, you know, at least I'm gonna put it like this. I'm not gonna tell you guys what happened, but I'm gonna say at least get off the island. Like, why not? Why would you not just go in the ocean? Do something. This ending drove me crazy. Fucking,
that's
a good bond. They owe us a great bond after this. They owe us it better be Mario.
Well, I've got the perfect Bond for you when we get to it. I've got a candidate. No one is like, go on, man, lose it. Have a mic. Go on, man. Go on, Karen.
Basically, his last words was he's pretty rough. Well, it's my last movie. So.
Go on.
Making the freaking frogs.
Go on, Ross. I want you to get as angry as you did when they did Clone in 3D.
It takes me a lot to get there. I mean, if they do another Clone and P-Make, I can easily get that up anytime. But this was not the Daniel Craig send-off. They need to, like Matt said, they need to make another fucking No Time to Die 0.5.
And you know what? I agree. The reason I feel like this is a necessary ending is just because I can understand it's Daniel Craig's last Bond, but does it have to be does it have to seem like it's like the very last Bond for some reason?
Yeah,
and well, you get, and then you get. I mean, as in every Bond movie, at the end of the credits, James Bond will return.
Yeah,
and which of course.
End credits.
Yeah. No, there wasn't.
Okay, was it? This isn't Marvel, guys. Calm down. This is the MC poo. But
thankfully.
That didn't happen to Connery when he made 20 Bonds. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to figure out where the standard is. With
and that unofficial. What was it? That unofficial Bond movie he did as well.
No, but you're right, guys. That usually does happen at the end of every James Bond movie. Is James Bond.
So yeah, but, I don't know. I mean,
but
anyway.
you're both right on that final scene though, because that really got me. And all I'll say, folks, is if you think we've got an operative who's trained to that level, the threats that they come across on a daily basis, and then with the people who work in the labs, experimental scientists, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. And
I'll just say they can't come up with a potential viable solution. And also my problem was,
right, exactly.
As you said, why, okay, I'm revealing a little bit here, but why didn't he, as you said, jump off into the water? Yeah. Something like that. He wouldn't have just stood there.
Just swim away. That was my thing, because okay, whatever, but you're not gonna stand that. So the other thing is, you're in an enemy fortress, you're in an enemy compound. So why would you, even if you thought that they all evacuated because blah blah blah, and you killed whatever ones were left, why at any point would you, it's not like you're in your vacation home, why at any point would you let your guard down? It doesn't make any sense. But Gaz, you were saying something about another. You had another actor that you'd like for Bond.
Well, I thought we'll get to that though. When we come for who to be the next Bond, or do you want me to do that now?
No, we're at now because we're about to do ratings. So.
All right, I'll do it now. Look, everyone's throwing around names such as Tom Hardy, Idris Elba, Henry Cavill. All of those guys could be dope Bonds. But it's time for serious first now. Mac, I think you'll feel this as well.
And he's going to say some crazy Disney bullcrap.
I think the best person to be the next James Bond, and this guy, he could actually sing people to death as well, especially one of his most famous songs ever, Hooked on a Feeling, David Hasselhoff. He should be the next James Bond. The cheese that guy could deliver with his smile, and the way he could sing people to death.
We're not doing the Hoff. No.
It's going to be the Hoff.
The Hoff would have been good
a
couple of years back, but now.
What's he, James Bond's dad? How old is it? Retirement? He's been retired for 40 years.
He's just like this ageless being, isn't he?
Never mind American. Like, I don't know what Gaz is talking about with this Baywatch. It's Tom Hardy, Christopher Nolan, and that's final. All right, boys, let's do. Mac, did you have somebody? Because if you say Matt Damon, I'll kill you. Matt Damon. All right, let's do.
Actually, I kind of did have somebody in mind. Dang, he slipped my mind too.
Well, let's do ratings, and if you come back to it, you can pull it up.
So,
So
screw it, man. Scott Atkins. There you go. He should be the next Bond.
Yeah,
I kind of like where he's going, even though he's kind of James Bond's dad at this point. But Atkins a lot. I'm a big
man. All you have to do is dye his hair black, and he's back to James Bond. Okay, so
I'm telling you, the Hoffman, he's already got the car.
All right.
Man, he ain't Michael Knight, man. So get out with that tassel.
And shout out to Atkins. Atkins and Dolph have a new one, Castle Falls. So if you guys want us to review that, beep boop, hit us.
Hell yeah.
We'll be doing. We got a couple of Atkins coming up. I'll do this next. No Time to Die. It currently has a 7.4 on IMDb. I gave it a pity 7 out of 10. It's realistically probably a 5 or a 6. I'd probably
that's where I'm at.
I gave him a 7 just to hook him up. It's not better than Spectre. I don't know where you guys get these Riddler. Spectre, Christopher.
I give it a 6.5, and the reason why
that's realistic.
The reason why is just because like it had not been for the story being stretched out.
Yeah,
adding,
exactly.
So pointless scene after pointless scene after pointless scene.
It's almost 3 hours long. This isn't Lord of the Rings.
And yeah, exactly, and not to mention killing off most of the characters off like too quickly and too abruptly. Like what you call Christopher Waltz, he was Ernest Blofeld. You know what I mean? And Ernest Blofeld, that's the leader of Spectre. Who y'all don't know is pretty much Dr. Evil is modeled after that. Villain right there.
I think they just did that, like you said, Mac, to be like, see, it does loop back to the Spectre plot line, but it was such like a forced way of doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but how they killed them off? Like,
no, don't talk about that shit.
Anyway, what I'm trying to say is basically, if it wasn't for the stretched out storyline and pointless scenes, and
it's way too long.
And some of the stuff that could have made more sense but didn't, not to mention the Bond villain being an average performance when it could have been capable of so much more.
Plot being average, the story being average.
And of course, the ending, then that just was the worst part. Get down to a 6. I don't get sometimes I'm just not going to be on that level of 7 or whatever. I got to keep it 100.
I'm always miserable. So join me in misery, man.
It's impossible to give a 7. I mean, I agree. Like, I think cut 45 minutes of the talking parts out of this movie and maybe a little bit more action, or just tighten it up and
cut that joke about, is he the 007 or am I 007? Who's 007? Who's 007? I don't know who.
That's a good one.
I say there's only one 007, and that should be Mr. David Hasselhoff.
Oh my god!
I don't get it.
This ain't Knight Rider, guys. Get out of here. It's my crazy.
You were like a 4 or 5, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it 5, and it's weird. This is a weird one because.
Yeah, I thought it was pants.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it, folks. I thought, this is pretty whack, man. I mean, the action's dope. Don't get me wrong. Apart from the notable miss with the automatic near the beginning on the bridge, which was stupid. But you wouldn't have had a movie then, because that would have been it. It'd been over. Yeah. But yeah, a 5. Action's dope. Cinematography's dope. The soundtrack is whack. I despise pop music. It shouldn't be allowed in anything. Pop music sucks.
Yeah.
The acting, Craig was awesome. Felix was good.
Yeah.
The ones who couldn't act, it really stands out. I feel they were so much outshined. Disappointed for Rami Malek. I would like to see more from him.
Yeah, Walt was good. Rami was okay. He did his job, but he was a bit flat. Not his best.
Yeah.
Great actor, not his best performance.
Yeah. And it was just disappointing. Like I said, it felt like 2 different kinds of movies crammed into one. And I just thought, man, I don't feel it kind of gave the send-off that I would have liked to have seen Craig get, especially that ending, which was so whack.
Yeah.
Trust me, folks, when you see it, I was the same. When I was talking with Mark and Ross last week, we've been on about going back and forth. I was like, oh man, it can't be that bad, fans.
It is.
And when it got to it, I was roasting it, going off with them, and I'm like, man, it feels like such a gut punch, and I'm like, you're kidding. So yeah, folks, I'm at a 5 with it.
It's an average Bond, as I said.
Yeah, I'd maybe wait for it to come on to DVD or rent it for a deep sale price.
Yeah, I'd wait for Netflix just stream this
Yeah.
one. And again, whereas Casino Royale starts so hot, and you're like, oh man, there's this new guy, Bond, he's kicking ass. He needed at least that level of energy that Casino Royale had for the last one, and granted, that's because the last few are so good. So my standard is up there because you have these top-notch directors. He's
true, yeah.
Blah, blah, but it was a bit of a fizzle, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Great action, as Gaz said. Great locations. I love the countries. I love seeing Europe. That's one of my favorite things about the Bond franchise. But this one has an ending that just didn't sit correctly with me, and I'm trying to control myself. And it's not
did you feel it was like kind of playing old school video games where you'd get to the end and literally the end used to be the end? That was it. Oh, congratulations!
The only difference is it wasn't in 16p. It was shot in like 800k or whatever, but it wasn't in 16-bit. But yeah, no. It's just a straight up cutoff.
I vote that the video game Bloodstone with Daniel Craig be the last Bond film in compared to this monotonous
second that notion. But I like Bond. I don't know. Hopefully we get Hardy. We'll see what happens. That's all we got. No Time to Die, AK Yes Time to Die. Again, action is
time
there.
To is it time to
yes, Time to Pants. And I think it was directed by Cary Joki Fukunaga, and I'm not even sure who that is. So check it out. Leave your feedback below if there's something else you want us to cover. We're going to try to get some Scott
definitely
going.
One more thing too. They also someone that voted even Clive Owen to be in the Bond, but I think Clive Owen a little too.
I don't mind him, but I think he's past his prime. So
he's not bad, but he's a bit monotone. He's a bit monotone. Some of his movies are good, and then other ones like the most awesome King Arthur performance where it was wooden as hell. I'm Arthur, King of the Britons.
Isn't that the most historically inaccurate film of all time?
Oh God, yeah.
If that's the case, they make Christian Bale freaking 007, man. I don't understand.
I mean, Bale
if he doesn't insult the entire film crew.
He will. That's why I like him.
That's what you're doing.
I mean, if it's not Tom Hardy, I'd take Cillian Murphy. Cillian Murphy's pretty badass. And we're definitely going to do Peaky Blinders season 6 for you guys. I'm a Peaky Blinders fanboy. So that's all I got for you guys. Zodiac Files, Episode 3. The Sherry Joe Bates mystery is coming soon. I'm interviewing Dr. Mark Hewitt Sunday at 6 p.m. He is author of a trilogy of books on the Zodiac Killer, and his suspect is Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber. So like, sub, share, and that's all we got for you this time. Yes, Time to Die. Maybe they killed the franchise. Maybe they didn't. Hopefully one of our boys can get it back. But honestly, the way they lost the energy, I feel like it's going to be tough to generate any interest in Bond after this.
I think they have to go away for a little while, take a bit of a break, do a rethink, and come back with something on the level of Casino Royale again. Even with the soundtrack, get that. I know people might seem small, but if you think when they had Casino Royale and you had, Blessings to Him, Chris Cornell on that soundtrack with Audio Slave, and it was pretty awesome. So come back with that, get a good soundtrack to match, take your time, and then maybe it can be back up there, but it's certainly going to have to take some time.
Yeah, I'm a
patient
fanboy. I mean, even like you said, the energy of Quantum, the energy of Skyfall, the energy of Soul, freaking Spectre, like Javier Bardem and Skyfall was awesome. Like Batista and Spectre, like you just had these little things that made those movies awesome, and they just didn't. This movie was too long. There was no reason for it to be 3 hours. There just really wasn't, unless they were going to have like crazy fighting and really center in on Craig's Bond, which I felt they really didn't do. So
yeah.
All right, boys.
Definitely. I agree. All right, peace out, folks, and we'll see you on the next one.
Like, sub, share, Paradigm Review Show. Yes, Time to Die.
Peace.